Hey guys, it's SomberShadow001, and this is something new. I'm not back at it again with the video games, and I'm not back at it again with Destiny 2. This is something that I wanted to do because I was wicked excited, and if you know me, I'm a big comic book fan, and obviously you're going to see by the title. I saw Zack Snyder's Justice League. I literally got HBO Max, paid a subscription this month, watched it, and then canceled it, and that was it. And this is my review. There will be spoilers, and I will preface that in the title as well. Big spoilers this whole video. But what are my thoughts on the movie? Here's what I think. It was incredible. It was so good. I had pretty big expectations, especially when I heard that some people saw it early and they were saying great things about it. So my expectations were up to here, and it managed to meet my expectations and then some. I will say, definitely, if you're going to watch this movie, go in blind. It makes it so much better. It's just worth it. That's why I saw it so early, because I knew that I was gonna start seeing spoilers pop up all over the place, people posting scenes on YouTube and shit like that. So I went to see it first. Also, I will preface, if you didn't know, it is a 4-hour movie, and every single bit of those 4 hours I felt were necessary. There was no fluff. There was no pap. There was no just filler. Everything mattered. Every single scene made sense. It was shot incredibly well. There were some scenes that were amazing that were left on the cutting room floor when Joss Whedon took over. And particularly with Cyborg, and we'll get to that later when I get onto the spoiler part of this review. Cyborg has so much to do in this movie. He's basically the heart and soul of the movie, which I love, considering that he was kind of mistreated in the past with Whedon in terms of the character, not just the actor. Just everything on top of that, everything that was incredible. Honestly, I can't really think of anything bad to say besides the fact that it's 4 hours. But even then, those 4 hours went by very fast. I was invested the whole time, and by the time the movie ended, I was like, it's been 4 hours? I had no idea. It really doesn't feel like a 4-hour movie. To me, it's comparable to when The Lord of the Rings released those extended cuts, which are also incredible if you're really into that. For me, those were a little bit boring after a while, but this never felt boring. There was just some incredible scenes, some incredible acting, particularly on the part of Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg. He did such a great job, and it sucks that he was fired from it. He did such a great job. You get to a little bit more of him. You get to see a little bit more of his backstory. You get to see some of Barry's backstory. You get to see some of I almost called her Wanda. Diana's backstory. You get a little bit of everything. You also get to see something that I thought was interesting that we never really got to see in Justice League, at least not a lot, which was the world is in mourning. The world is still mourning the death of Superman from of course the previous movie, Batman v Superman. Which actually, I can say this isn't a spoiler, but which is the opening. So they changed the opening. Obviously, if you watch the Whedon cut, the original opening is Superman, Man of Steel era, getting filmed by kids, and he has really bad mustache CGI where they tried to blot out the mustache he had for Mission Impossible, and it just looked horrible. None of that is there. There you do get bits of comedy, which I think is good. But at the end of the day, it's really well constructed. It doesn't drag on. I would say the only parts it really did was a little bit towards the beginning, because you just want everyone to get together and go. But again, you have to be patient. It is a 4-hour movie. It's incredible. It's separated into 6 parts, and then you have your epilogue and your credits. The epilogue was also incredible. There's a scene, particularly in the movie, I believe it was either part 3 or part 4, in which, if you know, when you saw it, my jaw dropped absolutely when that scene happened. I never believed it, and unfortunately, it was shown in a trailer, at least a little piece of that scene, and I was a little bit upset about that. I never watched any of the theories. I just saw the trailer and I was like, oh, what's that about? And I always assumed it was just a vision, like the stuff that we saw in Batman v Superman, where Batman was having the crazy dreams of the alternate reality, which we also get to see as well. Yeah, just overall, it's a solid movie. It's so much better than the Whedon cut. The visual effects are better. The story is better. Just the way it's cut, the way everything flows is better. The tone is consistent. It's just, it took something that was a good movie, or if not good, an okay movie, and propelled it into greatness. To me, this Zack Snyder cut right now is side by side with me for Infinity War. This is what the Justice League movie should have been from the get-go. And obviously, if you don't know the story of why, I'll get into that later as well. There were moments where I genuinely teared up during the movie, and that's rare for me, for a guy who almost never cries during any movie ever, and it's very rare. And even that, it didn't have to do with any scene in the movie. It had to do with the credits that just got to me. And the reason why is, if you don't know the story of why Zack Snyder left the project of Justice League, and the story behind that, besides the fact that he was already kind of getting pushed out by Joss Whedon, according to him, was his daughter. His daughter, Autumn, ended up dying. She committed suicide, and him and his wife had to leave the project to get some much needed recovery and time to reacclimate. And this whole thing was for her, and that kind of got to me a little bit at the end, where we see the card that says "For Autumn," and the song that plays over the credits is, of course, a rendition of "Hallelujah," originally by Leonard Cohen. I don't know who the singer is, but she did an amazing job. And from what I read in the Vanity Fair article where he mentioned that, I believe it was the same woman who sung it at Autumn's funeral. Sorry. Which kind of just got to me, I was like, it's good to know why he did this and the heart and soul behind it. And it's just such a sad story. And I hope you're doing well, Zach. I know you're never going to see this video, but I hope you're doing better and stuff, because that's something unbelievably hard, something that I can't even imagine dealing with if I ever have children in the future. But yeah, with that said, movie is fantastic. It's great. Now we're gonna get into some spoiler territory. So if there's one thing that I kind of didn't like that had to do with spoilers, it had to be, although it was maybe one of the best scenes in the movie, I was like, God damn it, they shafted Jared Leto's Joker again. Don't get me wrong, he did an amazing job with what he did in Justice League. It's leagues better than Suicide Squad. He doesn't have the tattoos, he doesn't have anything like that, but from what I saw in the trailer, I thought it was going to be a bigger role, seeing that alternate future of the world destroyed, with Superman being evil. I thought we were going to see more of that, and we see basically none of it throughout the whole movie. We see glimpses, we hear about it. It's not until like literally the end of the movie, when we're in the epilogue, that Batman has this dream. And it was so cool. Just the interaction between him and Joker in that whole scene of them going back and forth. The line that Joker says to him, basically saying, I just want to know why you sent the boy Wonder to do a man's job. Oh my God, it was just so good. The fact that he's like, I killed Robin, and you have to deal with that. And Batman saying, yeah, well, I killed Harley, and she told me if I killed you. And he goes, what he says, he goes, if I killed you, and believe me, I'm going to fucking kill you. That's what Batman says, because this is an R-rated movie. He goes, I was going to do it slow. I was just like, oh. We get to see a future Flash. We get to see that cool little suit he had in Batman v Superman when he shows up in Bruce's dream. We also get to see a cool version of Cyborg in the future, and we see Mara, who's played by Amber Heard, who is no longer Mara because she got fired because of all the stuff that's going on. I'm not going to get into that. And the reason why she is with this new Justice League in that alternate future is because Superman went crazy and killed Aquaman. Aquaman's dead. I believe Wonder Woman is also dead, although they don't mention anything about her in that alternate timeline. And that she wants to murder him. As well, Deathstroke is with the group as well. I think it's interesting. It's like a cobbled together Justice League. And we kind of finally figure out why that thing of the Flash going back and telling Batman, you were right about him. Get Lois. Lois is the key. And we explain that, at least through the Joker, that Lois died. And Superman went nuts and killed everybody. He went after everybody. And I think that was so interesting. I would love to see more of that. And the reason why we see that is basically the fact that even though they saved the world and even though they brought Superman back, this could still be a possibility that it happens. Especially with Steppenwolf. Oh my god, they did Steppenwolf so much better in this. He looks cool, he's a badass, but you also kind of feel bad for him, the fact that he was exiled from Apocalypse because he tried to betray Darkseid, who we get to see in this movie. He is also a straight up badass. He, gets kicked out and he's like, I will raise this world so I can come back home. And basically the discovery of, which I was wondering the whole movie was, Darkseid isn't about conquering worlds, he's about finding the anti-life equation. Are we ever going to hear anything about that? And basically, Steppenwolf, as he's gathering the mother boxes, he finds two, and they tell him it's here. And he finds out that the anti-life equation is carved into the earth. It's that original battle site that we saw in the Joss Whedon cut, where we saw the alien Green Lantern going off, which we see again. This time it's not Steppenwolf, it is Darkseid that is fighting, which is also another amazing scene. You get to see Eris chop Darkseid's arm almost clean off. It's amazing. So well done. You get to see that. You get to see Barry save Iris, which is awesome, and see them meet for the first time, which is also an amazing scene, amazing effects, him ripping out of his shoes because he's going into super speed. Not to mention him entering the Speed Force during the final battle, because it's part of their plan for Cyborg to get into the mother boxes, or the Unity as it's called when all three are together, to separate them, which I think is interesting as well. So you kind of see him turn back time because he ends up being a little bit too late, because he ends up getting shot by a parademon. Again, incredible. Superman's return is so well done as well. Seeing Martha Kent has a bigger role in this. You get to see her a couple of times. And that will lead to what I'm going to say is the jaw-dropping moment that I believe everyone will have when they see this movie. And it's the scene between Martha Kent and Lois Lane, or who we believe to be Martha Kent. And her telling Lois, it's time to move on. It's time to live your life because you haven't been to work since Superman died. It's okay to go back among the living. And you're like, oh, well, that's such a heartfelt scene. And then you see Martha leave. And her eyes turn red. And the shot pans around. And guess who we see? Martian motherfucking Manhunter. He was there. He shows up as Martha Kent to tell Lois to come back. Something tells me he knows about the future. It's Martian Manhunter. He turns into the general that we saw all the way back in Man of Steel. So that now confirms the theory that everyone had in Man of Steel, that the general that met Superman in the first thing where he's part of the military was actually Martian Manhunter. My thing is, does Superman know? Did he always know? Which is interesting. And that also ties in with the amazing dream sequence that we see that I mentioned earlier, where Batman wakes up and Martian Manhunter shows up at his door and tells him, hey, you killed Steppenwolf. Cool, you prevented that, but Darkseid is on his way because he knows about the anti-life equation, and we need to find it before he does. And Batman is just chill. He's like, cool. Yeah, I'll call you. What do I call you? As Martian Manhunter. All right, dope. And he flies away because he's pretty much seen everything at this point. He's seen fucking parademons. He saw Darkseid. He's seen Superman. He's seen Wonder Woman. He's seen the Flash. He's seen Cyborg. He's seen Aquaman. He's seen it all. He doesn't give a shit. So he's like, okay, cool. I guess our Martian's here now. And I love that. I love his inclusion. I think it's so dope. And it's, of course, I can't believe that was cut. It also teases that there might be other Justice League characters besides Martian Manhunter. We do see Ryan Choi, who, if you don't know who Ryan Choi is, and you're not a comic book fan like I am, he is the second Atom. He's Atom after, not Ray Parker, that's not right, Ray Palmer, who is, of course, the original Atom, who, of course, people would know if you watch Legends of Tomorrow. We also see Ryan Choi in that universe, in the show universe, the CW-verse. But yeah, and they kind of mentioned that he's the head of nanotechnology. So it's hinting at the fact that, hey, he's going to become the Atom, which I think was awesome. We also, of course, we see Gordon again, which is J.K. Simmons, and we see, of course, a police officer, Crispus Allen, who for me, I'm like, oh, could be a Justice Leaguer, but I doubt they're ever going to do it. Most people are just going to know him as he's a cop from Metropolis that came over to Gotham. They'll know from, I can't remember the name of the comic book. It was an incredible idea, and it was so well done, where it just focused on the police of Gotham and them dealing with these crazy threats, including the Batman. It might have been just called Gotham PD. I think it had a different name. That's what really propelled characters like Renee Montoya and Harvey Bullock into the forefront, where was this book. And Crispus Allen was one of those characters. But for me, I always remember him as, even though I believe it was short-lived, as the Spectre, who's the Wrath of God, is kind of like this not mythological being, but like magic kind of character. And I would love to see that. I doubt that'll ever happen. But I feel like there might have been a tease to that. It's not like we see him with a green cloak or anything. But it's wishful thinking in my part. Some tells me we're probably going to get, if they do a Spectre movie, or if they ever added the Spectre in, I doubt he'd be part of the Justice League. Or they would make it Jim Corrigan, because that's the one that everyone knows. Just all around incredible. There's so much. Lex Luthor is in this movie, and that is okay. He doesn't show up that much. It's the same post-credit scene that we saw in the Joss Whedon cut, where it's him and Deathstroke, although it's not as cheesy, not as dumb, in the fact that he's not like, oh, we're gonna make a league of our own, we're gonna create the Legion of Doom or the Injustice League. No, I find it way more interesting and way cooler, because it's something that I forgot about in Batman v Superman. But Deathstroke shows up and he goes, why do you want to take down the Bat pro bono without any money? And, of course, Deathstroke says, it's personal. He goes, oh, something that has to do with your eye, I bet. So we find out, of course, Batman took Deathstroke's eye, which I think is interesting. But what I find more interesting in that respect is he looks straight at Deathstroke and tells him, hey, you want to find Batman? I'll tell you his name. It's Bruce Wayne. Which I think is just awesome. I was like, oh, right, I forgot he knew he was Bruce Wayne in Batman v Superman. I forgot he figured it out. So I'm like, I'm like, there's so much possibilities of where this could spring from, and I'm so excited to see what could happen. Will there be a Snyderverse? Will this be brought back? I don't know. I know a lot of people have been asking him that question, and he's been kind of sidestepping the issue. So who knows? I'd love to see more of Snyder's work if it's just like this. Even though I just, there's so much to break down, and really I'm gonna keep it as short as I can, because we're reaching the 20-minute mark. I will say the opening scene is incredible, of Superman shouting after Doomsday stabs him, of him shouting and it echoing throughout the world, I think is also amazing. An amazing imagery in that movie. The black suit, obviously, and the scene of him finding the black suit and having this inner monologue in his head of both of his fathers, of Jor-El, Russell Crowe, and of Jonathan, Kevin Costner, was really well done. I loved that. It's just that parallel of his two dads telling him, do what you have to do, the world is now ready for you. I think that redeems a lot of the stuff that Kevin Costner had said in Man of Steel, which was kind of my issue. I know he wanted to protect him and stuff, but it kind of came off on the wrong foot. But yeah, this movie, I straight up can't find much wrong with it. I honestly, I would have to be nitpicking. It's just incredible. It's an incredible film. I love what Zack Snyder did, and I hope he does more stuff like this. I really hope he ends up doing more DC movies, especially with everyone just loving this film so far. It really is an incredible experience, and I hope that you go see the film yourself. But remember, if you're going to see the film, don't watch this video. Go in blind. I mentioned it earlier before the spoilery part. It is really an incredible film, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Anyway, remember to like, comment, subscribe. Apagando las luces. And remember as well, after me saying, of course, my outro, remember what this movie is for. Rest in peace, Autumn Snyder.